15 years ago today, on May 31st, 2004, the world was introduced to a family of animated pigs who would become polarizing figures in children's entertainment. There's Mummy Pig, the hard-working mother who devotes her life to her family. George, the dinosaur-obsessed child who uses emotional manipulation to get his own way. Daddy Pig, the family man with good intentions who just can't seem to do anything right. And there's the star of the show, the titular character herself.
I'm Peppa Pig.
Peppa Pig is presented as a colourful, juvenile show with innocent storylines and wholesome characters. The episodes are just 5 minutes apiece, and they don't exactly have a reputation for being controversial. The plot of each episode is usually so remarkably mundane that you may think there is no possible way that they contain any nuance or dark undertones. But that's where you're wrong. Peppa is our protagonist, and she comes across as an innocuous character on the surface. She has entertained millions of toddlers across Ireland and the UK, and she is described by Nickelodeon as a lovable, cheeky piggy. In my opinion, cheeky is a more suitable term for this character, but it is a profound understatement. Peppa Pig's characterization is far more complex than we may realize. The target audience will take everything they see on the television screen at face value, but Peppa's character extends beyond jumping up and down in muddy puddles and singing the Bing Bong song. Peppa Pig has a lot of noticeable personality flaws. She is apathetic, she has a grandiose sense of self, she is rude to her family and friends, she envies other people, and she is quick to turn against them out of spite. What's particularly striking about this is that these are some of the primary personality traits of narcissists, and Peppa exhibits these traits in various episodes. So, in this video, we are going to explore this behavior, and we are going to get inside the mind of Peppa Pig. Peppa is far from an ideal role model for children, and a lot of parents rightfully perceive her as a bad influence. Peppa Pig has a lot of friends who she usually gets along with. Susie Sheep, Candy Cat, Danny Dog, Emily Elephant, Zoe Zebra, and... But all it takes is one minute incident for Peppa to instantaneously turn against them and temporarily end their friendship. Peppa is one of the original pioneers of cancel culture. If she gets jealous of a friend, she will just cancel them then and there, and Susie Sheep was a victim of this in one of Peppa Pig's most infamous scenes. In Season 3, Episode 28, Peppa has an existential crisis due to her inability to whistle. Peppa's character flaws are evident in this episode because she believes that if she can't be successful at something, then nobody else deserves to enjoy that success. When Peppa discovers that Susie Sheep can whistle, she is not happy for her friend. She is envious that she can't do what Susie Sheep just did. So how does she react?
Like this.
Susie Sheep was officially cancelled. Peppa Pig has proven on multiple occasions that she indulges in her own success at the expense of others. She is an egotist who believes that she is above everybody else, which she basically admitted at her birthday party. Peppa's family once hosted a fancy dress party for her birthday, and she had to decide who wore the best costume. Her friends dressed up as a nurse, a pirate, a witch, Peter Casey, a dinosaur, and a carrot. There was no prize for the best costume here, but there are also no prizes for guessing who Peppa chose as the winner.
And the winner is... me.
Peppa is not only a self-centered character, but she can become hostile at any time, especially towards her brother George. Despite the fact that George is a baby with uncontrollable emotions, Peppa fails to show empathy. She vilifies him if he does anything wrong, and she never takes his feelings into consideration. I think this clip speaks for itself. Surprisingly, George is not the primary victim of Peppa's shenanigans because Peppa usually directs her volatile behaviour towards another member of the pig family. This is a character who is mercilessly bullied by his family and friends in almost every episode, and his name is Daddy Pig. If you have ever seen an episode of the show, you probably know that bullying Daddy Pig is a common trope. As a matter of fact, it has been a running gag from seasons 1 to 6, and it created one of the most infamous catchphrases in the history of Peppa Pig.
Daddy's big tummy.
It's difficult not to feel any sympathy for Daddy Pig. His weight is treated as a joke by the other characters, but this isn't a joke. This is downright bullying. Daddy Pig is a victim of verbal abuse from his family, despite working a full-time job so he can provide an enjoyable life for them. He is subjected to relentless fat shaming from everybody around him, and to add insult to injury, he is forced to acknowledge his obesity that he is clearly insecure about. Fat shaming and verbal harassment is trivialized by Peppa, who takes no shame in humiliating her father at every possible opportunity. Despite being the lead character in a cartoon for babies, Peppa acts like a bully towards her father, but she is not the only character who does this. Ironically, a lot of other daddies make fun of Daddy Pig's tummy, even though it is clearly copied and pasted onto their character models. Daddy Pig is easily the most likable character in the show, so it's tragic that his entire purpose is to be ridiculed by everybody he communicates with. As I mentioned before, Daddy Pig has good intentions, and even though he typically gets everything wrong, he always tries to do what's right. Peppa Pig is not the role model that kids should look up to. I have concluded that she has displayed multiple signs of narcissism, verbal abuse, apathy, volatile behavior, envy, and self-importance. Honestly, if there's a positive role model in Peppa Pig that children should aspire to be, it's Daddy Pig. He puts other people first, he looks after his family, he spends time with his children and tries to make them laugh and smile. And despite being harassed by his family, he never ever returns that abuse to anybody. Daddy Pig is the embodiment of the personality that other people should strive to have. His lifestyle obviously should not be replicated by anybody else because he clearly needs to control his diet, but Peppa needs to control her behavior. She may be the main character of the show, but Daddy Pig is the moral compass. For 15 years, he has been completely underappreciated, while displaying compassion and empathy in every episode, and never complaining about being the punching bag of the family. So if your children watch Peppa Pig, you should urge them not to act like Peppa. Instead, try encouraging them to act more like Daddy Pig, because even though he has a big tummy, he has an even bigger heart, and that is the most important thing of all.